This is day 27 in Journey Roach's Champion. Going to be doing a full recap of the Djerba Masters, talking about one of my worst airline experiences. I hope you guys enjoy the video.
But we'll just go through all my games just briefly to show. So obviously in the first round, I had a very nice victory against Ariantari. I think I played like 96% accuracy. The critical moment was this e4 move, allowing the en passant, and I sort of I get the two bishops. I control. He tries to kick the rook back with some, eventually I won the game. This was a great start. And then the second round was the only game where I really got outplayed. Against Jules Mossard. It was a Najdorf, or not Najdorf, but a close position. I was playing well. Everything was okay. Um, but I started to go wrong around here. Let him start attacking. Things started to get weak, and eventually, I just lost control. But I managed to defend. He went through like a 3-4 repetition, so this was a bit lucky. However, then in round three, game against Darda, actually had really nice preparation. Had to sort of find King E1 here, which is a difficult move. So this was some missed chances. My opponent defended well. Round four, pretty nice victory against Divya Deshmukh. It was quite clean. Um, I just at this moment, the only mistake was just blundering Queen D5. But if I take, and like Rook G4, again, these pawns are pushing. This pawn is pushing. My king might be a bit weak, but Black's king is equally weak, if not more. So I should be able to consolidate eventually and convert this. But unfortunately, I blundered. Still, she was in time pressure. I managed to convert anyways. Then round five with Black and Ivanchik, which is a theoretical draw. Quite boring. This has been played many times before. Um, uh, and then round six, obviously this was the fateful game that ruined everything. The opening went for quite an endgame. He was well prepared. We get this very weird position with this sort of weird structure. And anyways, eventually we get to a sort of equal endgame. He has the two bishops. He has a slightly weak pawn structure. He has some activity, but I slowly maneuvering. He's got some weaknesses. Eventually, he blunders. Obviously, like he wants to play here, but now I have knight c6, pawn takes, and now if king b7 is here, and if here I pin and win the bishop. Um, so he had to just play rook f6 and not panic and defend everything. But still, I have some potential, slow potential. Maybe bishop g4. I don't know. Many moves. Maybe bishop. Maybe he has takes f3. Because if takes h3, and you cannot take because if here, threatening this, if like back h2, maybe I can take here. Spawn's quite scary, so hard to evaluate. Anyways, he blunders a pawn, he goes back in here. I had a great opportunity. I had to find this sort of piece sacrifice. And then I sort of pin, I get the double pin, and then I win this pawn eventually, and I just roll the three pawns up the board. And then, of course, everything was fine and everything is going well dandy. And I just had to sort of, the two critical moments were, first of all, in this point, I should just push the pawn. This is the simplest. And I missed that after bishop c3, the king just goes up to d3. Um, and now if you take, then just give a check, push the pawn, and the bishop can't return to protect. Obviously, then here it continued, and here I just had to find a very basic move, knight b3. It's funny that I sort of hallucinated, like my plan, like was here to go check, king a7, and then like rook f3 was my idea to like provoke the king here. And I thought like here, I don't know, maybe this is not good. He has bishop b2, yeah. So let's say I go here, king goes up, I go king d3. I don't know, it's unclear, but like also it's rook e4, but many things. Like I should never lose this position. Like, okay, draw. Well, winning is one thing, anyways. I just blunder first, and here again, I don't know what I hallucinated. Like I should go here. Obviously now I go around. So if like here, I just go back to f3. I just play simple chess. Like if here, like you cannot really push. I just give a check. I push my own pawn. Push my pawn. These two pawns are very dangerous. He only has one pawn. I have two. So just some blunders and everything lost. And complete hallucination under pressure, unfortunately. So that obviously could have just been a free point. But thankfully, in the final round, when I had it was a 9 a.m. game, I was so tilted, I actually managed to play quite well. Um, Another Sicilian, my opponent went for quite a fighting line. He played this weird move, queen f3. The main line is f4. Paired this nice idea, e5. Hopefully, surprise. He attacks the bishop to castle. I go rook c8. He goes knight d5. Takes notes here. I honestly checked it so briefly because this is a nice intermezzo move because you can't you don't want to defend because I take. So you should have to go here. Now the bishop comes, and then now you just have a better the queen on f2 passively and the queen is on c2 actively. But what I played is also fine because here I have the plan of going g6. He went to f4. I went here. The computer suggested very funny line, just bishop g7, f5, and I was afraid of. I didn't realize after castles I can just go f5 and like f4, e4, everything is coming. It's hard to evaluate, but anyways, I wanted to keep all the pieces on the board, keep the dynamics, keep position. So I went h5. It's not that bad. If you check with I checked with a strong engine, and it's not that bad. The idea is to go h5. I basically want to play f5 right now. So let's say king b1, h4, queen here. Okay, now rook h5 is not that great. Maybe bishop here. Okay, maybe king b1. I go here, and then here. It's hard to say, but I wanted some imbalance. But like in the game, we played here, and now I go rook h5. And the point is that let's say king b1, I can play f5, and then with f5, I sort of control things. This queen's a bit awkward. But he blundered f5. Now I have this. It's very funny. Queen f6. It's very counterintuitive to put your queen in front of the rook, but the rook is just undefended, so I just went up free pawn. Knight a5. We traded everything in this position. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've had this cough for the past couple of months, which is just won't go away. And here I should just play very simple chess. Rook h3, knight f6. I take the pawn, and then I have this massive just center of 4 pawns pushing down. This pawn is irrelevant, and I would win quite swiftly, but I played knight c5. Obviously thinking that after takes knight b7, I have rook b5, the knight is trapped. Must go rook b3, I take back. Rook must come back, and we go for this endgame. Or my pawns are just going to run up the board. The knight's also just dominated. But I blundered that after rook c3, b6, he has knight b7, which just completely didn't cross my mind. And here I guess I was tilting, maybe fatigue, and again I just take here. It's stupid, I should just take with this pawn. And the point is after takes, I go c4. Now you go b5, and then eventually you're going to win the d pawn. So I needed to be a lot more patient than I was. It was quite bad. So I take with this pawn, which is just inexplicable. And suddenly I'm just throwing away my entire advantage, and it's equal again. Slowly I'm turning, and then eventually he tries to liquidate. And this was a really nice moment because obviously he's trying to wants to take. Like there's this, and this reason it's a draw. But if I start with a5, takes, like first of all, if you go here, I can go. I don't know if king b4. Yeah, I go f5. Yeah, f5 here, a4, and yeah, now here. Like for example, c3, king c5. I'm going e4 and I'm winning the pawn. That's about zugzwang. If here, now it's zugzwang. Because if you go here, I kick and I win. And if you go here, push zugzwang. And then I take this pawn, I take this pawn. So I need to have the pawn on a5 to go in this position, to go e4. Now let's say, okay, a3, I go a4. And if g4, f6, zugzwang. If a4, f5, zugzwang. If g4, I go a4. g5, a3, zugzwang. So it's this sort of pawns going, zigzagging. Not zigzagging, but now g5. So if g5, a3. If a3, f6. And the king is stuck, I win the pawns. So it's a nice calculation. And then he wanted g5, wants c3. It's sort of a nice move, like just giving away the pawn. But now the rook is kind of offsides. My king's going to come in. So he played king e2 first. I took, went here, rook a4, rook g2. And here I sort of made a mistake. I should just go, no, I should go king c5. I was worried about king f2, rook h2, king g2. The point being that I wanted to keep my rook here and sort of activate it, but I should just go back. We go here, takes here, and my pawns are just faster. Like my pawns are already advanced. I should just assume that I'm going to win somehow, because the king is there. I'm going to f4, e4, f3. I should be able to win. The king is active, and he's just starting to push his pawns now, like e4, a5, f4. I think his pawns just have to be too slow. And okay, even here I could go here and just win a free pawn. So I should have just went for the kill here. I'm way too fast. But I again, and I thought this was simple, but I missed the way. There's only one way to defend here, which he has to bring the rook over, and he has to go here to cut the king. So after f4, now the only move, maybe a4 first, but he has to go rook d2 to cut the rook off. Maybe rook d5, king d5, e4, c4, e4, king d4, e3, rook e2. But this is a draw. No, this looks like a draw to me. Maybe it's not a draw. I thought it's just a blockade. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But Ricken games are quite something. But he missed that. He gave a check, went back, and I just pushed my pawn. I went around to stop the pawn, then I pushed, and there's actually no way for the rook. So let's say you try to, you cannot stop the pawn because I cover d5, so check. Here, the point is actually I just go king d5. And if rook f6, now I can queen, takes 6, and the king is actually close enough to the pawns. Like if you go a7, rook a1, b6, king c6, and I catch the pawns. And if here, I just go here, and I catch the pawns. Full blockade. So this was at least a nice victory. I gained 1 full rating point. Obviously, if I'd beaten Maurizi, I would have gained 11 rating points. So this is quite an unfortunate fluke, but at least it's clear what I need to work on. And I think the general level of chess was quite high. I think there were just slight moments, maybe lapses of concentration, but in general, I think I'm showing a very high level of chess. And certainly, I'm confident that my rating is going to make some big improvements this year, despite me becoming a stupid YouTuber. So thank you guys all for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to start doing Q&As now that I'm back, so add some questions about the series. We're going to get back into the rhythm and start preparing for the next tournament. I might play Reykjavik Open, so if you've watched this far, comment whether you think I should play in Reykjavik or not.